Welcome to Harbinger's flagship interactive webinar, Power Hour. Let's tune in.
Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Vivek and I am the moderator for today's exciting event. A few tips if you can't hear the audio before we proceed. Ensure you have selected the right speaker for audio output. Test your speaker to ensure it is working fine from the audio settings option on the lower left corner of your screen. If necessary, please dial in using phone. Time to move ahead. I would like to thank you all of you for joining us today and taking the time out to attend the interactive technology Power Hour session hosted by Harbinger. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, I would like to inform you that Power Hour is a series of panel discussion hosted by Harbinger, where industry stalwarts share their experiences and insights on a particular topic. The topic for today's discussion is enabling intelligent content automation using ChatGPT and other AI models. For the audience, we also have a small token of appreciation at the end of this session where we will be sharing a link for a detailed comparison on top LLMs for automation. Time to welcome our host for today's panel discussion, Dr. Vikas Joshi. Dr. Vikas Joshi is a business leader who is passionate about product development and technology entrepreneurship. His mission is to help create software products that makes a difference. A key part of that mission is to inspire tech professionals and entrepreneurs to grow and develop. As the founder and CEO of Harbinger Group, Vikas drives Harbinger vision with a relentless focus on innovation. His doctoral research at the University of Pennsylvania was on entrepreneurial learning. He is an alumnus of the Harvard Business School. We welcome you, Vikas, and over to you.
Thank you, Vivek, and a big hello from Pune in India. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what part of the globe you are joining us from. We have a great, exciting topic today using LLMs and AI models like ChatGPT for intelligent automation involving content. And we have a wonderful panel. So I'm going to keep the introduction to a minimum and just dive straight into the game plan, all right? And here it is. We're going to focus on three key items. One is the benefits of intelligent content automation. All of you know about the benefits of automation, so we need not belabor those, but we're going to talk a little bit about intelligent automation and then intelligent content automation over traditional content processing. There are many contexts of content processing. For example, you could have customer data that's just piling up in the form of customer reviews online, and you're trying to make sense of those. Or you could have a ton of, a pile of resumes and job descriptions, and you're trying to figure out which one fits where. Or you could have a variety of recordings of meetings that occur within an organization, and you're trying to find out who said that in that meeting. These are all content processing problems. And how could AI models help solve these problems better? And what are the benefits of AI? That's the first piece of it. The second piece is real-life stories of intelligent content automation. Increasingly, organizations are beginning to use these LLMs. So we're going to have our panel talk about that. And finally, how do you do this? What kind of models, what kind of libraries, how do they compare? What goes in, what comes out? So the whole mechanics of selecting the various intelligent content automation approaches is the culmination of today's Power Hour. So those are the three pieces, right? So with that, here's just a quick context setter. Microsoft Teams, as you know, has a premium version launched with GPT 3.5. And so with this version, what you can now do is you can generate intelligent recaps. So it would take a meeting recording and chop it up into logical chapters, for example, or create summaries and meeting notes. It can produce recommended tasks for individuals who may or may not be in the meeting. It can do things like personally sort of timeline the meeting, so you know when you dropped off and joined back, and so you know what part you missed, and then you go back and see what you missed. Overall, the idea is to grow the value of that interaction and to have it persist even later. You could have live translations in 40 different spoken languages. So all of these are examples of using intelligent content automation within the context of Microsoft Teams meetings. So that's a great example right there for you. The overall momentum toward AI adoption in automation is relentless. And to me, this October 2022 IDC report says it all. By 2025, it says 50% organizations will adopt intelligent business execution strategies, turbocharging all aspects of the automation lifecycle with AI. So it's time to ask you a question. What drives intelligent automation in your organization? I'm sure there is discussion about it, and maybe you have already started using it in some shape or form, whether it be translations, summarizations, curation, tagging, any form of intelligent content automation, transcription, and so on. What's driving that? What are some of the factors driving that? So the poll should come up in a second. Vivek will put that up for us, and then we can vote on it.
Yes, so we have started the poll.
Thank you, Vivek. And is this a single answer or multiple answers, Vivek?
So this is multiple choice.
Excellent.
So I can see participation coming up. So we have 40% participation till now. So I think let's wait for a couple of more seconds.
Sure.
Okay, so should we end the poll, Vikas?
Yes, please.
Sure.
So are we sharing results here? Okay. All right. So improving productivity and efficiency, that wins 78%, followed by improving customer experience, improving quality and compliance, and finally reducing costs. So I'll leave it to the panel members to sort of refer back to it when we introduce them, which is going to be right now. Let's stop sharing here. We have an amazing panel today. We have Andrea Wade. She is the VP of Product Strategy at iCIMS, a talent cloud company. Previously, she was co-founder of Opening.io, which was acquired by iCIMS in 2020. She has a background in programming, journalism, product management, business development, entrepreneurship, and investing. Andrea is a startup mentor for major incubators and accelerators in Dublin, from where she's joining us, as well as in London, Tel Aviv, and Berlin. It's an honor to have you, Andrea, and welcome to the show. And tell us what makes you interested in this topic.
Thank you so much, Vikas, and thank you, everyone. And hi, everyone. I can see that we have great participation so far, and thank you so much for engaging with the poll and all of that. That really does help, I suppose, tweak what we say and speak to it. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for that intro. So yes, my world is in AI and automation and has been, for nearly a decade now. 2020, as you said, iCIMS, the Talent Cloud acquired opening. iCIMS, for those that don't know who we are, don't want to assume, the world's best brand, Trust iCIMS, Bloomberg, IBM, L'Oreal, Wells Fargo, nearly 6,000 customers worldwide, including 40% of the Fortune 100 that collectively employ more than 33 million people around the world. Wow. But I suppose to just, yes, a lot. So a big, and I will refer back to that big responsibility to build for a space where we facilitate employment for millions of people every single year, right? But to go back to your question, and to go back to it, why interested in this topic, by way of my background, Opening was a deep learning API-based company, right? And we were specialized in TA, so talent acquisition use cases. So our work was around large volumes of content, unstructured data. So we tapped into resumes and job descriptions and skills profiles and competencies, and for querying, for parsing, for extracting, for suggesting, for performing matching recommendations. We were essentially a matching engine. So overall, facilitating the easy discovery of such content, what lives in TA, through AI. And pretty much from day on via NLP models, so language models, right? And this topic is very interesting to me because previously, these models have been stuck at, 65% accuracy for decades. But now standard BERT models, without wanting to get technical, these are the language models that we're talking about here today. They're able to, reason within milliseconds, really fast, and with an accuracy of 85 to 90%. So as these are improved, we will start seeing a shift from using AI for static tasks like classification, which can serve maybe only a small number of use cases, to entire linguistic processes being aided by machine learning models, which really opens up a world of possibility within industry, enterprises. Really what this is doing is enabling this new wave of research, productivity, creativity, as we've seen with DALL-E. I know we're talking about ChatGPT and business sort of applications of this technology, but how cool is DALL-E? So it's a great time to show up if you're building and learn how to do it meaningfully, purposely, and in the best way possible so you can serve your clients. So yes, it is my world and it's interesting, so I have to be in it.
Absolutely. And it has been your world before ChatGPT arrived on the scene.
Yes.
And made it a commonplace thing to expect generative AI.
Yes.
We also have, welcome again, Andrea. We also have Shrikant Patatil joining for this Power Hour. Shrikant is Chief Technology Officer at Harbinger Group. He's been with Harbinger for over 24 years, during which time he has led several software development and sales and marketing teams in various capacities. For customers and his team, Shrikant's been a source of cutting-edge knowledge of shifting technology paradigms, such as client-server, web, cloud, and AI. He's seen it all. He's recently been instrumental in helping customers in the HR and e-learning domain solve their product integration and automation challenges. And Shrikant, welcome to the show, and tell us what's the excitement about all this in your mind.
Yeah, thanks, Vikas, for the kind introduction, and hello, Andrea. Nice to be on the panel with both of you, and hello to the entire audience. And thanks for giving us some insights of how you are thinking about automation. So basically, if you look at the last few months, there's been a lot of buzz around ChatGPT and similar models these days. And almost every other day, you're seeing articles about exploring possibilities with it, and some of them citing risks as well. So I think we are at an interesting time trying to discuss this and the use cases and possibilities and where it could be used. However, I feel the whole generative capability and the accuracy of some of these large language models like GPT is what's making things very interesting, and these conversations kind of to happen. At Harbinger, we work with a lot of customers in HR, healthcare, high tech, and other industries. And we come across them dealing with large volumes of content data, and they're all interested in how to improve productivity, deliver insights using this content that they're collecting in their applications or what they have in their enterprises. And in the past, though we are applying a lot of things to help them, it still required a lot of human interpretation to make or translate that content into knowledge. So the human and that was, at times it's becoming impractical or, very time consuming. Now, fast forwarded to today, if some of these technologies can do better summarization, can generate content from whatever is there and shorten that cycle, then those are interesting possibilities. And since I've been involved in some of these initiatives, I feel, this topic is close to my heart, and, and I'm fortunate to have this discussion with both you, Vikas, and Andrea, to see what we can
absolutely
and share with them.
Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you for that. So I guess we can dive right into it. How is AI-based intelligent content automation different from traditional processing of content? Your thoughts, any stories you want to share? Maybe I can ask if Andrea wants to go first.
Sure, why not? Even in school, I always had to go first because my maiden name starts with A and I was always first. So what can you do? But yeah, look, I mean, great question. When a new technology emerges, it's in order for us to understand it, we compare it with what we know. And is it, well, how is it different? How is it going to make things better, right? And that's totally legit. And I sort of touched on some of this already, that we are moving from automating repetitive tasks and these kind of rule-based processes to intelligent automation, which incorporates AI, machine learning, NLP, and structured data interaction, intelligence document processing, all of the stuff that's ties to content. And now with the potential to be aided by these large language models that truly open up a great number of use cases. Even the fact with the democratization of access to these models, right? There's an arm race going on right now between all these large companies. You have GPT-3, you have OpenAI, you have Google with Bard, you have Meta now with Llama, announced literally days ago. So, and I do believe that we will see a simplified access. We kind of already see it in pricing with some of these companies, right? And I think it's very interesting that you don't have to be a data scientist to make use of these technologies necessarily. A student can use this for their homework, a marketeer can, a social media influencer, a recruiter can. And we will get into these examples further into this discussion. But I believe that we're truly looking at a truer version of machine to human collaboration. We've done the repetitive, we've done that kind of pattern reckoning, we've done all that, and now it feels that we're collaborating. And I think it's very interesting and many applicabilities.
Thank you. And specifically from a product engineer's perspective, from the perspective of someone who is building new products, right, that want to take advantage of these capabilities, how does this look different from traditional content processing? Does it mean new skills, for example? Just under the hood, how does this look different to the people working on this? Or is it I guess a different vision of what's even possible compared to what you could do earlier?
I mean, if definitely a different vision of what is possible, right? And how it's possible. In terms of skills, I will say that while we're not running to implement this in production yet, we are running to understand it. As technologists building innovative products, we have to show up. This is a time when you show up and you experiment and you want to understand. Luckily, we, via the acquisition and my old team and so on, yes, we do have these skills in-house, but I also see that this truly is a collaborative approach, what I can see with our partners in Microsoft and OpenAI, for many reasons, because this is at the beginning. It is, we're at the inception of this. And yes, these are accurate models, but there are also models that are open to, and this is I promise you, this is an actual AI term, hallucinating. They will tell you things very believably, and you could, you could take them as fact, as we have seen in the Google demo of Bard, and we all know what happened after that. Stock market crashed. Anyway, you can Google it about Google. But definitely, I think it can be, if used correctly, understood, supervised, gated, consulted, and all of that. It opens up new business models. It opens up, efficiency. That is, and I was glad to see that in the poll. That is really what AI does, right? You increase efficiency. That's what a model does. You teach it to do something, and you will want to do it better and better and better, and give you the best possible result, the best possible answer. And this is what these LLMs do as well. So it is, these technologies are definitely a reason to lock yourself in a room with a bunch of colleagues and think proper digital transformation.
Thank you. Shrikant?
Yeah, it's a interesting question. And I think, with the topic that we are discussing, going back with traditional approaches, right? Our main thing was we stored it in a content management system. And the process was that we used to we did tagging, we did parsing. Basically, it was for optimizing for search and rapid production. This helped us manage large volumes of information, and it made over the last 20-25 years our lives very simpler. However, increasingly there is demand to rank content or for better interpretation, right? Use AI to do that, as well as also use existing content and create better insight summaries as we go. And now the content formats are not just textual anymore. You have audio, video, images, and Andrea also talked about DALL-E and some of those things. So the whole processing of content is very complex, and the types of things are also very complex. So the traditional methods that served us till a few years back probably need to be expanded, and that's where we need to start using and leveraging some of these new methods to make the whole content automation process go further. And we call it intelligent because it is driven by AI. And in short, I feel the whole generative capability and the whole accuracy of this content generation is using these LLMs and ChatGPT kind of models will be the key difference between how we used to do it and how we are going to do it in future. So that's what I think. Of course, time will tell us whether, how far we can stretch it. Because I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Shrikant. I was just saying a lot of nice things about you. I was saying it's very useful the way you framed it. So from pre-programmed fixed rules to something that learns on its own, right? So just to take an example, if you wanted to solve the problem of, creating captions for videos that remain in sync, logically sort of chunk phrases, create translations on the fly, and have as good a synchronization as possible. All of that with traditional content processing would be one way, but with the AI would be a whole different game, right? Any other ways in which we could talk about real life stories of intelligent content automations? Something where enterprises have or can leverage ChatGPT-like models in their content. I guess we talked about Microsoft Teams. And what I'll do is I'll just put a few themes on the screen for some sort of memory joggers for you. And if you have encountered anything along those lines, it'd be interesting to see whether you have some stories to tell.
Yeah, maybe I'll go first here.
Sure.
So that, I'm sure Andrea has many more examples. So, well, I think you alluded to translation, and that's a problem that we are solving because we deal with a lot of e-learning and content, and translation is a huge problem, because when people build content or videos, now we did this for a large e-learning content publisher. It's like has like tens and thousands of videos, all created for the US market, or people who understand English. But as they are expanding, the challenge is that with compliance and with kind of requirements to cater to a large volume of users, they have to localize. And if they go with traditional methods to localize, it will take 2 or 3 years to do this. And, again, the cost is probably not justified, because it's going to be too much to do unless there is the business ROI that's there, right? So that's where we have helped them kind of create a solution which uses AI, does about 60 to 70% of the automation and the translations using LLM models. Now that they are trained on such large volumes of content, the generative capability of these and the translation capability is much more efficient than what it used to be earlier. And used software programming traditional techniques to make the whole integration and assembly process and publishing process much more efficient. So combining those two, we are able to do these projects of automating 500 videos, 1,000 videos, 2,000 videos in very short span, like in like months rather than years, and deliver the same amount of quality and open up the good. I mean, for the end customer, it's like the go-to-market becomes that much more efficient. Every 15 days or every month, they can say that now we have translated this into this language, so which is phenomenal. So
yeah,
so that's one efficiency example that I could think of.
Yeah, in this particular instance, then it checks 2 boxes, right? Improve efficiencies and new business opportunities in different geographies, right? For them.
Yeah.
It does a couple of things.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
If I'll jump in here. I mean, efficiency is always such a big one, but I'll give an example that is, well, I'll give a few real life examples and maybe some use cases for the TA HR industry. But interesting real life example, a company from Ireland, and Ireland is a small country, right? And because a small country with many that many countries celebrate very, very soon on the 17th. And you mentioned that I work closely with the startup community and so on, right? So one of the companies that we're very proud of is a company called Intercom, right? It's a business messaging company. You could go to many websites and a chatbot kind of shows up and it's like, hey, can I help you, right? So very much applied to customer service, customer support, and all that kind of stuff. And I found it very interesting, right? Because everyone is paying attention, but things are moving so fast right now, right? And I found it very interesting that on the 31st of January, they came out, and they're essentially known as a product company. They have a lot of product leadership. They put out ebooks, they do, but they came out with a bunch of ChatGPT powered features, 31st of January. And they said, look, very interested in this. We can see the value in this. We understand that it's tricky. And we've been very careful in where and how we apply this. But they came out with, summarization, so summarizing conversations. They have this composer AI feature thing that they call, which is really the box where you write the messages or emails to your customers or your users. And in there, what I thought was interesting is that they added these extra layers of, hey, what about adjusting the tone of this message? Because you have different customers, you have to speak in a different voice, maybe to all of them. So they have this adjust the note thing. Then they have expand. I want to get a point across. I'll give you 5 bullet points. ChatGPT, help me expand what I'm trying to say here. Or things like generate a help center article, maybe from a blog post or from something, right? Because with a big product, and they're known to be great at supporting their customers and so on, but you could see this applicable to any company. We can do enough to support our customers, right? So very quickly you can generate this kind of help center format out of content that you already have. So I thought that was very interesting that they actually got in there, they did it, they launched it, and they have a cohort of beta customers using this, right? So
that is very impressive, and so it's an excellent example. In fact, the classic example of intelligent automation in customer service is a chatbot, and to have that use, now generative language models to modify the tone and to add a punch to the answer. I mean, that's wonderful. So just curious, but in terms of the prompt engineering for this, to sort of get the right output from ChatGPT, that itself would be a skill, right? That folks would need to learn. So in terms of literacy, I guess you have that.
Absolutely. I was actually talking today to my old co-founder and CTO, who was like, there's like prompt engineering jobs now and all of this, right? So it's, I mean, absolutely, for many reasons, and we could see it as well, how taking these technologies and applying it in our industry to our customers, to our data, to our use cases, and so on, that is absolutely a skill that is needed for many reasons, including risk, including D&I, including building responsible AI, and so on. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So in this rosy picture on the screen, there's only one corner that's not that rosy. It talks about job displacement. Do you want to talk about it, or we'll just carry on to the next point?
Look, it is a point that is always brought up when a new technology, shows up. I mean, I bought a new hair curler. I cannot, for the life of me, curl my hair the way I wanted. So I bought one. Our hairdresser's out of their job. No, they're not, but I'm still trying at home, right? So there is, of course, that is a question, and it absolutely should be a question. And to be fair, again, to go back to real life example, I saw one tweet from, it's just one data point, right? From the CEO of a small startup in the US, who said, I am getting so much work done via ChatGPT, just content creation for marketing, for social, whatever she was doing. And she was like, I would normally have half a role or a role for this, which I can see now that I don't necessarily require, right? So there is some of that. But then on the other hand, we're still learning how to use these tools. So with any change, there's other jobs emerging, other specialties emerging. And if we all develop the skill to use something, ChatGPT, Bard, whatever it is. Some of us we will develop skills to use it really, really, really well. And that's how new jobs are created and new competencies are created and so on.
Absolutely. So
Yeah,
Shrikant, I want to
you also talked about because prompt engineering creating a new stream, right? So that's the other end of the spectrum. So there is going to be new jobs as well. So yeah, I mean there is going to be some optimization. So
this is a time when I guess everyone's kind of scrambling to learn and figure out how to quickly move in and create a sustained competitive advantage, like the startup that Andrea advisors did, right? They brought in the ChatGPT into the chatbots. So is there a structured approach to implementing intelligent content automation? There may be the Maverick method, and there may be a more structured method. I can let you talk about that, Shrikant, if you would like to, and I'm happy to get you some visuals here, if that helps.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. So yeah, I think we discussed about this, and importantly, when using a technology or leveraging something new like this, it's important to think about in the context of a framework, right? And why framework? Because you are going to create, as technologists who are building through this, you're going to create a lot of base components, using which you will apply it to different applications. And primarily from a Harbinger standpoint, being a services company, we cater to so many different organizations. We don't want to be doing things, continuously repeating things, and therefore taking more time and money and so much. And customers also probably won't be happy to. So all this knowledge, if we can make sure that looking at the scope in which we are playing, like whether it's HR, learning, healthcare, some compliance, marketing content, and the types of different types of contents that we can process, be it documents, videos. So, and we create sort of processing engines for each one of them, like the base frameworks, which can drive outcomes finally for the customer, which are more data centric and help them take data centric decisions, influence their user experience in terms of better accuracy, productivities, and deliver more analytics to them. That's the whole where the scope and the outcome lies. But ultimately, to build something like this, you probably need to adopt a framework or a workbench where you train it with your type of content, and of course bring what's there in these LLM models, but also add what's specific to your organization, and and make it very specific and better as you start using it more and more. And Harbinger has built a lot of core capabilities and APIs that work on top of content, be it question generation, transcriptions, translations, summarizations, and so forth. And using various models, not only just the GPT-3. Therefore, it also helps in making sure that if customers prefer or certain domain things work, or certain type of content, certain different models work better, then that option of switching is also there. And everything is exposed in terms of a headless API sort of a manner, so that way you could build applications. So that's the thought process. And of course, there will be different frameworks and different approaches of how we combine these things. But it's important for each organization or each technology company to use this approach, so their customers benefit from the work they are doing in this area. And they don't have to redo things as they build apps in future.
Now, thanks, Shrikant. And Andrea, based on your experience, having a workbench approach where you sort of encapsulate certain capabilities, exposing them over APIs, and then allowing the flexibility of using different models, not just GPT, but others. Does that seem like an approach that may be one way to go toward this movement?
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, at first I was like, I'm not sure what I have to say here, but I actually have to say a lot here because I happened to build a whole company around, we were an API company, right? And we were white labeling it into all sorts of vendors in this in the industry. And we had at the time of acquisition about 34 APIs that did different things. And, you know, and we would have different customers. One could be a job board, the other could be a chatbot, the other could be a platform, you know, a CRM, an ATS, or whatever it is. And, you know, when discussing where does this belong, how do you go about it, how do you know what to do for, you know, all of this kind of stuff, I always think back of something that my co-founder Adrian said years ago, that when we started back in 2015, it nearly felt like all this AI stuff, it was nearly like a solution looking for a problem, right? And that's not where you want to be, right? Industries have matured since then, but everything always should start with what is the business problem that I have to solve, and then figure out what is the best, quickest, most cost-effective, most efficient, most skill-rich, and all that kind of stuff way of doing it, right? So, and as I was, you know, listening to you, Shrikant, and, you know, how you talk about what you do, my org, TCAI, Talent Cloud AI, is not unlike a mini Harbinger inside ISIS, because we are this R&D org, and our customers are the ATS, the CRM, the chat, and you know, we produce for them. We partner together, trying to understand the scope of the work. The ATS tells us this is what we would like to do. Then we figure out how do we do it. And again, we're an API org within the org. We provide all that. We provide the knowledge. We even go so to partner with them to know how to speak about this once it hits market. Right. So we go through the whole process from idea to deployment and go live and, you know, implementation, adoption, and so on. And then we pay attention to, well, what are the outcomes? What are we trying to achieve here? Do we have the date? Can we look at the engagement metric, whatever it might be, right? So yeah, I mean, absolutely, this pretty much mirrors our work.
Excellent. So that brings us to our sort of key question. Are there some risks you would like to highlight, or opportunities that come to mind when implementing these kinds of solutions?
I can go first.
Yeah.
If I'm pumped up already. So look, yeah, these models still require, you know, quite intensive monitoring and fact checking, and even in partnering with Microsoft, OpenAI, and so on, we see how they discuss with their clients, us, it's like, what are your use cases? What are you trying to do? What are your outcomes? Because they might approve or not some of these use cases. So it's not a free-for-all, right? But further improvements will reduce such whatever inefficiencies that there might be, making these LLMs more independent from human intervention. Are we there yet? Not yet. Can we get there? Absolutely. Do we need skills to get there? Do we need, that's why we have to be present. That's why we're having these conversations. That's why we need to experiment. I don't want people on this call to go away and say iSIMS is implementing GPT-3 or something or whatever, and they'll be in the market tomorrow. It's not that, but we are certainly experimenting, looking at the use cases, looking at what is the best possible outcome if we use some of these models to augment things that we already do. That's already, you know, that is a great starting point. We, you know, we have automation here and here and whatever. How can we improve it, right? But, you know, there are some limitations to these kind of machine learning models. They're stochastic, so they're statistical. They're based on statistical probability, not deterministic. So what that means is that they do introduce randomness, right? So it's not the answer is not A, B, as it was fed into. It's kind of a mix. It could be A minus B or A plus B, or there's a C, right? And that is how these models have been built. So we need to understand that. We need to understand that these models don't, I'm saying the chat version of them. You don't need to use the chat approach, I suppose, this conversational approach. That's how they've been put out into the world, which is interesting, because if you see that randomness and you go ChatGPT, who was the High King of Ireland in 1724, I don't know, making this, I don't know who that was. It might tell you something, and then you could go back and it might not be accurate, and you know it's not accurate, but you can go back. Are you sure? Because I read such and such, and back in that book it said this, and then it might come back with the adequate answer. Actually, yes, based on that. So this kind of communicative way that he was unleashed on the world, I think it's great. But it is important to understand that these models don't understand questions the way humans do. What they see is a bunch of data that is thrown at them, and they have been trained on similar data, and they have been trained to give the best possible answer in relation to the data and the ask that they received. But what were they trained on, and so on, right? So I think it is important when you see companies like OpenAI and Meta, they all talk about, look, this is a societal issue. We need, OpenAI says that they employ a philosopher, that we need economists in the room, that we need artists, that we need to figure out, what are our limits and what are what are the things that we need to mitigate. I know Meta had like a couple of initiatives like the deep fake detection challenge and hateful memes challenge, so we constantly need to make sure that whatever we do, we collaborate with the wired scientific community, that we also, like in iSense, we've been always, and in the past with opening, we always collaborated with universities, because we do need to build meaningfully and responsibly with these tools. I guess the last thing that I'll say here is that in iSense, we have a responsible AI initiative that we put together a few years ago. And it talks about being human-led and transparent and private and secure, inclusive and fair, technically robust, accountable, and so on, because our industry has already started with mandatory audits that are required to be done by third-party entities, vendors out there that will come in and audit us and say, well, they're biased, they're not biased, and so on. So the last thing I'll say here is that, we hire millions of people every year in iSIMS through our talent cloud. So we do have that responsibility to build meaningfully. Are there risks? Like with anything, yes, because we live in a biased world and we live in a warped world, I suppose. Are there opportunities? Loads, and we talked about them today, right? So.
Absolutely. Shrikant, a quick word.
Yeah, I think, the risks are very clear, but from an opportunity side, what I feel is, there could be a paradigm shift from we being, operating in a search assisted manner to an AI assisted workforce. And that will be interesting. And it won't happen overnight, but as applications start using these LLM models and platforms start exposing this capability to end customer, I think this whole AI-assisted work will probably transform the way we work and learn. I think that's what I feel. So let's see.
Well, thanks, Shrikant. Wonderful discussion here. A quick conclusion of today's discussion. To enable intelligent content automation, I guess, first thing is you need to identify the areas in your business where you need AI assistance in content automation. Typically ends up being improve productivity, reduce errors, produce new business opportunities, enhance customer service, one of those, or a combination. Use a framework-based approach that allows you to do efficient implementation. Leverage ChatGPT and similar models based on your data security, volume, training approach, and so on. And finally, I'd like to call out the attention to change management based on opportunities and risks, which I think Shrikant and Andrea discussed at length here. But in any organization, there's always people running ahead with the cutting edge technology, but then the rest of them, the fence sitters, they have to be brought on board. And that's a big change management challenge as well. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to my colleague Vivek to tell us a little bit about Harbinger in a few seconds, and then take it from there to Q&A and discussion. Over to you, Vivek.
I would like to tell the viewers that Harbinger is a global technology company that builds products and solutions that transform the way people work and learn. For 30 years, we have been innovating alongside organizations that are in the people business, serving the human resources, e-learning, digital publishing, education, and high-tech sectors. We experiment with new technologies, easily embrace new ideas, and creatively apply them to address the business challenges faced by our customers. At Harbinger, we have developed adaptable frameworks that help organizations build future of workforce solutions, powered by automation. We use technology and content-centric approach to design our solutions. Using our framework, we have helped customers solving problems like reskilling, competency-based learning, accessibility, reinforcement, engagement, personalization, integration, and automation. Our IP and platform partnerships help us build scalable solutions and accelerate overall development process. We understand that building a great product requires in-depth knowledge of the user, the nuances of the business, and expertise in technology. That is why we provide both end-to-end product development and content creation services. As a group, we are a team of 850 professionals, and we have developed 500 plus products for 400 plus customers globally. So we are small enough to care and large enough to deliver. So moving ahead, time for now to answer a few questions posted by the audience. I can see a lot of interesting questions. Okay, so let's pick first. First question is, what are some fundamental things which need to change, evolve to integrate AI LLMs in content generation? So panelist Shrikant, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit. The way you are organizing content and gathering it, and that itself, and the different formats of content that you can address. All of that, I think you will need to have a holistic approach. And at the same time, are you able to hear me? Is my audio clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
I got some feedback. So basically it's that, and also then choosing the right model. So there is going to be a lot of experimentation as to what gives you the results. So it's not going to be just take one and then apply and that just starts working. So it's about that continuous exercise in the lab that you have to do. And I think roll it to the users, get the feedback, build something that has the feedback and training so that it's a continuous evolving process. So initially you may have lower results, but as you do more, I think the results, you will have better and better results, and the automation will start to pay for itself.
Thanks, Shrikant. Let's take another question. So will hybrid mode between AI utilization and human intervention be common? Will human involvement supersede machine involvement because ownership can't lie with a machine? So, Andrea, do you want to take this?
Yes, machines cannot and should not rule us, and that should always be the answer. But they should help us, and they should make us more efficient and smarter and quicker and whatever you want, right? That's what we're, and I think I mentioned that what these technologies are truly allowing now is that true human machine collaboration. It's like a colleague. You can ping them a question, you can ping a thing, do this while I'll do that, right? I don't think we are anywhere close to hanging up our boots and just chilling and watching Netflix while a ChatGPT does our job, or makes decisions, and makes the right decisions and so on. So we're definitely not there. This hybrid, because also these the reality is that what we do is complex, right? What we do in our day-to-day. How many tools do we use? How many people do we talk to? How many, we're context switching all the time. So the idea for these technologies is to be within context, to give you a boost at some stage so you can do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But they're not all encompassing. So definitely that collaboration and that hybrid will continue. And we will definitely have interesting conversations around how do we check on what AI is doing and what are the prompts that we put in and what are the what does the gatekeeping look like and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yes. So I can see Daniel raising the hand. Daniel, I would request you to please share your question in the question and answer box or in the chat window. Okay, so let's take another question. So Bing is coming up strongly as AI co-pilot with generative AI giving amazing search results, info plus generative recommendations, better than Google Bard. How you see other companies using Gen AI for zipping past competition? So anybody from our panelists want to take this?
I mean, it's a broad question, right? And to some extent, I think we've addressed it. I mean, what was it, days ago, 4 or 6, Meta is out with Llama, who is better than GPT-3 and so on, right? So there is that arm race there at the core technology level. Never mind that taking that and implementing it into your industry and your right. So things are moving fast. So it is a time to build, right, and to learn and to understand. I gave the example of Intercom. They're a huge company, they're a unicorn, and they went in and they did it. They're very product led. So that's also another thing. I think we will see companies that are innovative, that are product led, that are that do this sort of thing, right? They're the first adopters, that they will move faster. Will we see backlash in some cases? Will we see things not going entirely right, and all that? Even the creators of these technologies are warning and they're talking about this, right? So that's why here is just understand the technology. What is the best applicability right now to your industry, to your company? What are you most confident on? But definitely we are in a period of fast technological change, and the adoption will probably make a difference at competitive level.
Thanks, Andrea. So I think in the interest of time, for all the unanswered questions, we can revert back on the email post this power hour session. Thank you, panelists, for answering the questions. If you are interested in knowing more about latest LLM models and their comparison, please reach out to us at contact@harbingergroup.com. You are also welcome to connect with our panelists directly via LinkedIn. We have shared their LinkedIn profile right now in the chat window. And as promised with you guys in the beginning, we have also shared the link for detailed comparison of top LLMs for automation in the chat window. With that, I would like to thank once again Dr. Vikas and our panelists for this wonderful discussion. And I'm sure we all are going back with some food for thought today. I would also like to thank our viewers for joining this session through Zoom, and you have been an amazing audience. Thank you once again. Take care and have a good one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.